Mali has recently seized 3 tons of gold from Canadian mining giant Barrick Gold Corporation, and the consequences unfolding is mind-blowing. So today, let's take a deep dive into this rapidly unfolding story that shows the complexities of international business in volatile regions, with the seizure of 3 tons of gold and its consequent response. But before we begin, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Mali is standing its ground in a bold bid to reclaim its natural resources and ensure that the country benefits fairly from its wealth. The West African nation, one of Africa's top gold producers, has taken decisive steps to assert greater control over its mining sector. This move, while controversial, reflects Mali's determination to secure its economic sovereignty and prioritize the interests of its citizens in the face of foreign dominance in resource extraction. The military-led government's recent seizure of gold stocks from Barrick has drawn global attention, sparking debate about resource ownership, fair revenue sharing, and the role of multinational corporations in developing economies. In a dramatic turn of events, Mali's government recently seized 3 metric tons of gold from Barrick Gold Corporation's Loulo-Gounkoto mining complex. The gold, valued at an estimated $180 million, was transported to the capital Bamako under the custody of the Malian Solidarity Bank, a government entity. This move follows years of disagreements over revenue-sharing arrangements and alleged unpaid taxes by Barrick. For Mali, the seizure represents not just a legal action, but a broader assertion of its right to reclaim what it believes is owed to the state and its people. According to government sources, the seizure is part of an effort to hold foreign mining companies accountable and ensure they adhere to fair contracts. For too long, the wealth of Mali has been extracted with minimal benefit to the people. This ends now, one official stated. The current conflict is rooted in long-standing grievances over the unequal distribution of benefits in the mining sector. Foreign mining companies, including Barrick, have long dominated Mali's gold sector. While these companies reap substantial profits, Mali receives only a fraction of the wealth generated from its resources. For example, Barrick owns 80% of the Loulo-Gounkoto mining complex, while the Malian government holds only 20%. Despite gold accounting for over 80% of Mali's exports in 2023, the returns to the state remain insufficient to address pressing issues like poverty and infrastructure development. Mali's government has accused Barrick of owing significant amounts in unpaid taxes, claims the company disputes. Authorities argue that foreign companies have used loopholes and opaque practices to minimize their tax obligations, depriving the country of much-needed revenue. Since coming to power in 2020, Mali's military government has emphasized the importance of reclaiming national resources to strengthen the economy. The government's actions are part of a broader strategy to assert control over key sectors and reduce dependence on foreign entities. While the Malian government views its actions as a fight for fairness, Barrick has framed the dispute as a breach of its contractual rights. The company has consistently denied allegations of wrongdoing, claiming it operates in full compliance with Malian law. In response to the gold seizure, Barrick temporarily halted operations at the Loulo-Gounkoto mining complex, stating that it remains committed to resolving the dispute through dialogue. The company has also offered to pay $370 million to settle the matter, though Mali's demands reportedly exceed this amount. However, many Malians see Barrick's response as a reflection of the exploitative practices that have long characterized foreign involvement in the country's resource sector. The dispute with Barrick is just one part of Mali's broader effort to assert control over its economy and resources. Mali's military-led government has made it clear that it will no longer tolerate arrangements that disproportionately benefit foreign companies. By taking a tougher stance, the government aims to ensure that the country's vast natural resources contribute directly to national development. The government's actions come at a time when Mali is grappling with significant financial challenges. Gold remains Mali's most critical export, accounting for over 80% of total exports in 2023. Increased revenue from the mining sector is essential to fund infrastructure projects, improve healthcare and education, and address poverty and hunger. By holding multinational corporations accountable, Mali hopes to set a precedent for fairer resource management across the region. The government's actions could inspire other resource-rich African nations to take similar steps toward reclaiming their natural wealth. Mali's bold stance has not come without challenges and criticism. Critics argue that the government's actions could deter foreign investment in Mali's mining sector. However, supporters counter that foreign companies will remain engaged if the government establishes clear, fair rules that ensure mutual benefit. The temporary suspension of operations at the Loulo-Gounkoto complex could have immediate economic consequences. Yet, many Malians believe these sacrifices are necessary for long-term gains. The dispute has drawn scrutiny from the international community, with some accusing Mali of overreach. Nonetheless, the government remains steadfast, emphasizing that its actions are rooted in principles of justice and equity. Mali's actions resonate with a broader movement across Africa to reclaim control over natural resources. Countries like Tanzania, Zambia, and South Africa have also taken steps to renegotiate mining contracts and demand greater local ownership. Mali's efforts align with this trend, reflecting a growing determination among African nations to prioritize national interests. The exploitation of African resources by foreign entities dates back to colonial times. For many, Mali's stance represents a long overdue effort to reverse this legacy and assert true independence. While the dispute with Barrick remains unresolved, Mali is committed to finding a solution that balances the interests of all parties. The government has expressed its willingness to engage in dialogue with Barrick and other stakeholders. However, it insists that any resolution must prioritize the welfare of the Malian people. To attract responsible investors and ensure sustainable development, Mali plans to implement policy reforms that promote transparency, accountability, and fair revenue sharing in the mining sector. Ultimately, Mali's goal is to use its natural resources to drive economic transformation. By reclaiming its gold and other assets, the country hopes to build a future where its wealth benefits all its citizens, not just a select few. Mali's bold actions in the Barrick dispute represent a turning point in the country's quest for economic sovereignty. While the path forward may be fraught with challenges, the government's determination to reclaim its resources sends a powerful message. Mali will no longer accept arrangements that undermine its development. This story is not just about a legal battle or a mining company. It is about a nation's fight for justice, equity, and a fair share of its wealth. As Mali takes control of its destiny, it offers a powerful example for other nations seeking to break free from the chains of exploitation and chart their own path to prosperity. Thank you for joining us for this in-depth analysis. If you found this report insightful, please share your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about Mali's efforts to reclaim its resources? Let us know. And stay tuned for more updates on this developing story.